Welcome back to AWANI with me, Nabila Khalida, taking over from my colleague Nina Rosman earlier. All right, continuing on, according to a report by the Malaysia Centre for the Fourth Industrial Revolution, close to two-thirds or 65% of Malaysian workers may use generative AI for 5 to 20% of their regular work activities. And generative AI has the potential to unlock $113.4 billion in productive capacity in the Malaysian economy, equivalent to 1/4 of GDP in 2022. The report also emphasizes the need to ensure close collaboration between the public and private sectors to support the responsible use of the technology. Yet the use and application of AI is without any drawbacks. Generative AI and deep fake technology are helping fraudsters hone their multi-trillion-dollar craft, and phishing messages are more polished. Imitation websites look stunningly legitimate. So to discuss further, joining me on the line is Armin Sohabri, the Regional Vice President, Emerging EMEA and Asia SAS. Good morning.
Good morning, Nabila. Thank you so much for having me on your show today.
All right. Firstly, Amir, acknowledging the significant responsibility that comes with AI capabilities, can you elaborate on responsible AI governance and its significance in today's dynamic technological landscape, especially considering the rapid adoption of generative AI among Malaysian workers?
Absolutely. Well, the responsible use of AI is critical for all organizations, and we believe that in order to have a sound governance mechanism in place to drive ensure the use of AI in fairness and driving value for citizens and customers, that the platform needs to be based on 4 core pillars. And that starts with oversight. That means that oversight has to be driven by the executive management team of any organization, where they're making sure that this is on the front line of everybody's mind, and they understand that responsible and trustworthy AI is a direction for the organization that they're going to be driving through. Secondly is making sure that you have the controls and mechanisms in place to manage any type of risk that could be coming from this practice. Third, making sure that you create the culture that is going to be able to embrace what AI brings to the table and be able to identify the risk that comes with it. That comes with training and making sure the right level of coaching is in place for the organization, so they understand how to leverage trustworthy and the responsible AI. And finally, the platform itself, making sure that that platform is in place not just to create the value or money, but to do the right thing, to do the right thing for the citizens, to do the right thing for your customers, to make sure that in essence there is an environment that is ensuring fairness and maximizing the benefits of AI for the goodness of the overall community itself.
But of course, in whatever we do, there will be challenges. So what are the guiding principles should businesses adhere to ensure that AI systems operate ethically and responsibly, particularly in light of the significant potential for generative AI to enhance productivity in the Malaysian economy?
Absolutely. So we adhere to 6 principles, and we have a SAS data ethics practice that works really closely with different governing bodies and major organizations in the world. And we've really boiled it down to these 6 key principles. First of all, you need to be human-centric. So we need to take into consideration the well-beings of our citizens and our customers. That is a key principle. Secondly, be inclusive, which means you're providing equal access to everyone. Third, be transparent. Transparency in how this is being leveraged and used, and that goes hand in hand with giving access to everybody. Fourthly, accountability, making sure that if there's flaws within the system, there's an accountable process and system in place where we can track how that was misused and rectify that very clearly. And finally, the 5th principle would be robustness, making sure that the platform that's in place is robust. One of the key principles around that, to make sure that it's available and accessible to everyone. And finally, it would be privacy. Obviously, privacy is one of the key principles around that, and privacy dovetailed with security to make sure that there's a confidence from citizens, from customers, when they're leveraging AI, that their data is going to be safe and it's going to be secure. So it's these 6 key principles that we believe really make that up.
So what are the most pressing challenges Malaysian businesses face in deploying AI responsibly, particularly concerning generative AI, and what strategies can they employ to overcome these challenges effectively?
Yeah, first and foremost, I would say for sure, when we look at embracing AI, is making sure you make ethics and trustworthiness a key topic, right? That has to be and at the front mind of every leader and every individual in the organization to make sure what we're working on is ethical and trustworthy. And that means we have to educate our team members, we have to educate our citizens, and make sure that we have the systems and processes that I talked about before in place as we drive towards embracing AI to ensure that we can innovate and create and co-create, but do it in a safe and trustworthy manner so it doesn't leave anybody behind and it doesn't bring any harm into our communities. So let me give a specific example around that. Example, AI leverages algorithms. So we need to make sure that these algorithms are created without any bias in place. That is really, really critical. Those principles that I talked about earlier are going to be very, very important in making sure that the biases and algorithms are not there or are being managed. If they're there, we can manage them out. This entails that we are driving more of what the implications around that is to try to drive a more just system in place, more just innovation, and then drive at the end of the day wellness and equity for all customers and for all citizens. So I think these are some of the key things that it needs to be in front of our mind right now.
Amazing. So in light of Malaysia's flourishing AI landscape, how crucial is the collaboration between government bodies and industry stakeholders in establishing robust ethical AI standards? And how does SAS envision contributing to and participating in this collaborative effort?
Absolutely. Well, our company, SAS, we've been in business for nearly 5 decades. In Malaysia, we've been active and present in Malaysia for the past 2.5 decades, working very closely with the government bodies. But we're involved in government bodies at the global level and at the regional level. We believe a co-partnership between government and industry is going to help shape the new regulations that come into place for trustworthy and ethical AI. When it comes to Malaysia, we've been actively engaged with the government on many different fronts. Let me give you a few examples of that. For example, with Malaysia Digital Economic Cooperation, we've been working very closely with them in putting together training programs to make sure that young professionals that are coming out are being certified not only on the technology, but on the practices of ethical AI, ensuring, again, that accessibility and fairness to all. We've launched a data literacy course that is available to all citizens. And again, that's to make sure that we skill up the current work environment so they can leverage AI and be able to practice it in a fair way and in a trustworthy way. Furthermore, we have one of the best collaborations with any government agency globally with DAWSOM, Department of Statistics in Malaysia, where we've actively worked with DAWSOM since 2018 to certify AI users and practitioners to make sure that standards are being held. So as you can see, we're very active with Malaysia at the government body perspective, with different agencies, and globally. We sit on the advisory boards of many different global government entities where our SAS data ethics practice is actively engaged in helping shape the regulations to ensure the safe usage of AI and analytics.
All right, moving forward, what obstacles and perhaps opportunities do you foresee in aligning governmental regulations with their responsible AI practices, especially now that we have a deepfake technology highlighted by reports and predictions?
Yeah, So I see opportunities, honestly. For sure, with opportunities comes risk, but it's our responsibility as active members of our communities and societies to leverage these opportunities and make sure we create a trusted environment for co-innovation and co-creation. Again, another example I can use is our active engagement with the Monetary Authority in Singapore, where we are working with the governing body to make sure the fair and ethical use of AI is in place. So the key critical things comes back down to accountability, making sure that we understand that this is shared responsibilities between individuals, entities, and the governing bodies to come together and to drive an accountable system, a system that is accountable, where everybody has equal access to leverage AI for good and for the well-being of citizens. And that means that we do have to have a framework of governance in place. That governance is really going to require the active engagement and co-collaboration between the government bodies that I mentioned earlier and industry thought leaders and organizations that are at the cutting edge and cutting pace of artificial intelligence and AI to make sure that we put that into place. Obviously, we've seen a lot of challenges with how deepfakes have been used to harm citizens, to create scams, and we need to be cognizant of that. With any opportunity, with any great opportunity comes great risk. So that is why the topics that I discussed earlier with educating our citizens, educating our workforce, and making sure that we are training them to be able to leverage AI in the right manner, but to drive innovation and to create innovation and to manage and mitigate the risks that come with that. And I think that is our job collectively as a community, as we look forward to unlock the potential of AI while we manage the risks that come with that.
All right, Amir, before we let you go, perhaps one last question for you. With the increasing integration of generative AI and its potential impact on society, why is the adoption of responsible AI practices more critical than ever, perhaps in mitigating risk associated with fraud and ensuring that AI technologies contribute positively to organizational value and societal welfare?
Absolutely, and that's a great question. And I think I can use that to sum up all the discussion points that we had earlier. So first and foremost, we need to make sure that we ensure citizens' data privacy and security. That's super critical. If we're going to build confidence in the use of AI, then we need to make sure that our citizens and our customers feel secure in a way that they're going to be able to use that. As an example, if let's just say my medical practitioner starts to use a form of generative AI to initiate contact with me and to try to provide some high-level analysis with me, first thing I would want to know as a citizen is that data going to be secure? How can it be used in the future? And this is where that transparency and accountability comes into place, where organizations are going to have to be very candid and open with regards to what's going to be happening with that data, who will have access to it, making sure that it does not get used in any way that could be harmful to me. Second, well, around bias. We touched on that earlier. How do we make sure that the AI algorithms that we're leveraging to drive value is not created with any inherent bias towards a specific gender, towards a specific race within the community, because that could have very, very bad effects. And we want to make sure that when AI is leveraged, that bias is not there. So the innovation that comes out of that, the value that is driven out of that is distributed fairly and equitably across the entire community. So that's very, very critical. Finally, harmful content, right? We've seen many, many examples in the past few months of deepfakes and how harmful content can be created to harm an individual or an organization or a country. So that's something that we need to be cognizant of, and we need to make sure we have, again, the awareness to question when something doesn't look right, and then to be able to validate and verify the source of the content that's coming out. So those are the things that I think we need to really look out for as we look to embrace AI, to co-innovate and to co-create and drive value for our communities and societies, but at the same time, manage that risk and manage the content that could be coming out that could be harmful for it. So I think it's a really important balance to be able to weigh. And this is why, again, making sure that you have a ethical data practice in place that is continuously evolving and engaging, leveraging the opportunities and the challenges that's coming out to co-create and co-innovate in a safe manner for the well-being of our communities and our societies.
And of course, the key is awareness, and definitely governments and organizations need to ensure AI technologies deliver on creating value for both organizations and the greater good. So I'd like to say thank you to Amir Sorabi, the Regional Vice President Emerging EMEA and Asia for SAS. Thank you so much, Amir.
Thank you for having me on your program today. It was a pleasure to speak with you.